But I don't need one. I don't need another one. A long time. Like, I did have a little fling with a man a couple months ago, and he just stopped, like, having any really interest in me coming over here or anything. Just kept on saying, like, an hour and 20 minutes is too far and all that, and I figured something was up with him, and he's with somebody else. I knew that. I kind of figured it. That's the way they are, sleazeballs. But I did get to scare the shit out of him real good. So I guess that was good. I shouldn't have jumped the gun and said nothing until I went to the doctor. I told all y'all, and that's the reason why I told it last night and I showed the test. Because I knew I wasn't. Trust me, if I get pregnant for real, nobody will know it. I will keep my private to myself. I figured it was something wrong with me, and it looks like they are, and I'm gonna have my doctor do some blood work when I go. I probably have to change my appointment where I can get it done all at once. I'm gonna call him tomorrow and see if I can do it Wednesday. See if my uncle's gonna take me, because that's the only way I've got to go. If he takes me, because I don't have nobody else taking me to Birmingham back. But I need to go. So anyway, I knew I wasn't. This showed up on my doorstep. I don't know who brought it or where it comes from. But anyway, it was one line, not pregnant. Knew it 110%. That's not what's wrong with me, and I knew it. It would explain a lot of stuff, but I'm leaning more towards menopause and baby pause. And I always have been. Right. It just don't work like that for me. I got a bad test, a bad pregnancy test, and it showed up positive, and I'm not pregnant. I don't know why. Good morning. I had some shitty stuff to do to somebody. I about had a damn heart attack. You know what? But anyway, I guess people don't want to even look at me this morning. I knew I wasn't, and that's, like I said, that's the only reason why I showed all TikTok, because there's people on here that don't like me and want to do bad to me. Yeah, it wasn't a good date. At a home test that sucks. Look, home tests are just as reliable or more reliable than the tests at the doctor's office. Let me put that out there. Tests have come a long, long way since the beginning of them, when you would go in the bathroom and add chemicals in a little tube and wait for it to turn green or blue back in the 80s. So they've come a long way. And my doctor at UAB, like, if you have a positive home pregnancy test, you're pregnant. They won't even see you in gynecology, in the regular gynecology. You have to be transferred to the OB, obstetrics. Like, they won't even see you because they go by that. Like, we won't see you. We can't see you here. We don't see anybody that is pregnant here because this is gynecology, not obstetrics. You have to be seen downstairs. And they'll tell you that on the phone. Sorry, we can't see you up here. They've told me that before. Long ago. I had all but 2 of my babies there, and I wish I'd had all my babies there because all the other doctors I've been to suck. Now, 2 different times they have dropped the ball. My second baby, he was too big to have. And they let me go too long. I should have had a C-section with him because he was really, really big. Or delivered when he was 6 pounds instead of waiting until he was 8. As little as I was. Number 2, sending me home with severe preeclampsia and causing me to damage my eyesight that has never fully recovered. They don't monitor their student doctors well enough. And number 3, using an outdated test to see if I had ruptured my membrane and telling me they're going to send me home with a ruptured membrane around my baby. But I'd rather have been at home. I don't know why I had to stay in the hospital. Anyway. Yep. Yeah, they don't let you go over 2 weeks anymore. They might let you go a week, but they don't let you go over 2 weeks. And most doctors will elect to induce you at 39 weeks pregnant, because if you go over 40 weeks, your risk of having stillbirth goes up 65%. And that's why a lot of doctors won't let you go over 49 weeks. I know the last doctor, happy birthday, little girl. Last doctor that I had said, you're not going over like 48, 49 weeks. We're going to schedule an induction. We're going to induce you. Well, I've been told by all the doctors, you can't be induced because you've had a C-section, and it will damage your uterus and can cause you to rupture. Your scar tissue will loose. Well, with my last one, they induced me, but it took 2 days to induce me. And when I tell you that was the most painful experience that I have ever been through with any of my kids in my life, it was. They used cervical pills and a Foley balloon. I pass out when I see certain bodily fluids, like blood. I pass out on you. And there was a lot of that. And I felt kind of squeamish. I felt really lightheaded about that. But I'm definitely not by this test. And everybody's like, you could have a miscarriage. No, honey, I ain't pregnant. I knew I wasn't. There was no way. There's no way. And I just called my doctor to have some blood work done, so I'm going to wait and see what they say in the morning. I emailed them, excuse me, I didn't call, I emailed them, but anyway. And getting induced. I had preeclampsia starting off with my third child. I never made it past 34 weeks with my fourth. I delivered my fifth at 34 weeks. My water broke with her. And the other one, my water broke at 21 weeks. So, they had to stay a little while in the NICU. Them two babies. One was 4 pounds and 14 ounces, and the other one was 3 pounds and 13 ounces. Those two babies were little bitty babies. And anyway, they had to stay for a while. They don't let you go over 36 weeks if you got preeclampsia, because it's very bad for you and the baby. And they'll usually put you in the hospital to monitor you when you get about 34, 35 weeks. And I get it every time I'm pregnant. I don't have to go in the hospital. Like, I don't. I got animals here. I don't have nobody take care of them. I got a lot of stuff to do here, and I don't have time to be in the hospital. That's why now is not the time. And my uncle's like, well, if that shows me anything, and it scares the shit out of me, one, I need to make sure that 110% that I am careful, merciful. Which I am, anyway. Two, that I need to get everything here done before anything happens. Like, I need to get the outside place fixed for my dogs. I had a good pregnancy for the most part with Kathy. It was kind of like with my first daughter. And that's why I feel like maybe that was the end for me. I had a pretty good pregnancy. I didn't have good pregnancies with Addison or Cassie. They was really bad pregnancies, and Cassie tested positive, her and Addison, for having a abnormality, a bone abnormality, and it's genetic. It's a genetic condition from their father. And they wanted me to go and have an abortion. An abortion with my daughter. The B word that everybody don't want women to have. The AB word. Yeah. They wanted me to go do that in Georgia. Because they done it up till 26 weeks up there, 26 or 27 weeks. And I was like 19 or 20 weeks, so I still had like 6 weeks left to do that. They wanted me to go have that done. And she'd already started moving, y'all. I could feel her kick. And I couldn't do that. But yeah, they wanted me to go and have a abortion. Her and him both showed up the same anomaly. It's a chromosome disorder. Similar, not the same, but similar to like Down syndrome. It's from what I was told. And it is I'm not upset. It is genetically from the father, from what they told me. It's a genetic condition. Katie and Austin don't have it. Kathy, I don't think Kathy has anything like that. I was never told, but I didn't go to UAB with her either, and they didn't test for it where I went. They done that my insurance wouldn't pay for it. They done that genetic test right at the beginning with the blood work, and it like tested for the gender. But my insurance don't pay for that. My second doctor didn't do none of that testing at all. The only thing they offered was amniocentesis, and I don't want to have that done because I have a history of miscarriage. Hello. So. Children are a gift from God. Maybe one of these years, if it's in God's hands, I will. But hopefully it's after I get my place remodeled and a car and somebody to support me in it. Because it's very, very hard. It is, you can do it, but it's very hard to have a baby and raise it by yourself. It is a very hard thing to do. I have done it, and I wish I'd had a partner that actually cared anything about me and anything about the child and was there. I know I have y'all, but it's a hard thing to do, but I'm not. I knew I was not. This proves it. I am not. Not. But my plan is, if the doctor suggests that I need to go ahead and do that because I need to have a hysterectomy or partial hysterectomy or something like that, which may be the case one of these days if I get cancer, if cervical cancer back on my cervix and there's nothing else they can do. They are leaps and other procedures similar to that where they can just take part of the cervix off, the cancer tissues, and you can do chemo or whatever, but chemo can make you sterile. Let me tell you that. Certain forms of chemo will completely shut down your ovaries. It was positive. That one was. But this one's not. So that, and I didn't think I was. Like, I did not think I was. I knew I wasn't. Because I'd have my period. Like, you don't have your period when you're pregnant. I know that. I was excited too. But yeah, I do. I have abnormal cells. I've had them removed before. Abnormal cancer cells. I have a very aggressive form of HPV. I don't talk about it a lot. How did I get HPV? Just like a lot of people. I mean, when you have sex, it is a sexually transmitted virus. Just like the HIV one. And it is 20 times more deadly, and there is no suppressant for it. Your body can either fight it off, and if you got any kind of a compromised immune system, they don't do a DNC for abnormal cells. DNC, well, unless it's like growing in your uterus. Then they will. They do a LEAP procedure and cut part of your cervix off for abnormal cell growths on your cervix. Hey. They don't do DNCs. That is just for things that grow in there. Or a baby that didn't form. I'm alright. So anyway, I got several strains of HPV. I think like the 16th strain from my husband. He was a dog, y'all. He run around with anybody that run around with him. He didn't care who it was. He was a dog. He didn't care nothing about me. And it, you know, I should have called it quits long before I did. Somehow got out of it, and even though he wouldn't let me, but he, anyway, I caught that. I found out when I was with him that I had it. I had a repeat pap. That's all they done is a repeat pap. A couple of times. Never done the biopsy. I went to UAB. They did a pap. It came back positive. They did a biopsy. I had cancer cells. Let me tell you something, ladies. These doctors out here, these OBGYNs that we're going to in small practices, that are just doing repeat paps on us if we have a positive pap smear, are going to kill us. Because you can have cancer and have a positive pap for HPV. They need to do the cervical biopsy. It's called I can't remember, colposcopy. It's called a colposcopy. They need to do that on you if you have 2 in a row repeated paps, instead of telling you, oh, we just need to repeat the pap. We just need to repeat the pap. And it should go away in a couple of repeats. I've had a colposcopy. I've had 7, actually. I've had 7 colposcopies so far. So they scheduled me for 1-day surgery, and I went in and I had surgery, and she said, we took a really hot cauterizing tool that looks kind of like a C, and she said, we cut thin layers off of your cervix until we cut all the tissue away. She's like, it's gone. You'll never have HPV again. I'm confident that I got it all. You'll never have it again. It's gone. You're good, 110% gone. Alright? Okay, I was like, cool. So, I didn't have a positive path after that. I was like, yeah, it's gone. I'm good. I don't have it no more. Fast forward to 2020, when I had my little girl. I go in for a pap. It's positive. It's positive again. I have 16 and 18th strand. The two that causes cervical cancer. So I go back in. And have a colposcopy again. It's negative, but I'm in Alabama. I have abnormal tissue growth on my cervix. So they scheduled me a year out to come back in to do PAP. That's just the way the insurance is. They don't pay them to do every 6 months like they used to. So you have to wait a year. And a lot can happen in a damn year. A lot. So I got to go back in and have another one. And it'll be positive. And then they'll schedule me for another colposcopy. And it'll show more growth. And it could show cancer growth again. So that doctor lied to me because there's no way to tell a patient that they'll never have HPV again having a leap done. A leap, and there's another one. I don't remember what it's called. But they lied to me. They straight up them lied. And I have the 18th strand. And everybody's like, why don't you just go in and hysterectomy? And because it is not just so that the cancer growth, the abnormal cell growth, it's not just in your cervix. It can grow in your uterus. It can grow down through your vagina tissue into your vagina. I mean, it's just not like, let's just cut that part out. No, I'm not pregnant. I knew I wasn't pregnant. Like, I wouldn't have put that on here if I thought I was. There's no way that I was. I knew it. Like, there's no way to be 3 months pregnant and not know it. Like, I wouldn't have no period. I would know it. Like, I took another test. I'm definitely not. So I'm going to go get some tests because there's some other things that are wacky, It's probably like cervical cancer or something. That's what I figured. Something a lot worse. But anyway, so I go back in and have another colposcopy. It will be my 8th one that I've had since 2017. 8. And I tell you, the last one that I had was the worst one that I have ever had. And I'm not looking forward to it at all. I don't even know if I'm going to get to go Wednesday. I've got to try to find me a ride to take me down there. You know what everybody tells me? Well, I'm sorry. I hope you find somebody. Well, they don't offer to help. No. Well, I mean, it ain't their place either, and I shouldn't look at it like that. I'm not their burden. But a good friend of mine said, well, if you didn't live over an hour away, I would come and take you. Well, it shouldn't be like that. It should be just like, I'll be there. I will be there. I will take you. I don't have anybody like that. When I had my leap done, nobody else could drive in my household. Nobody else had a license. And you can't drive after surgery, after being under anesthesia and stuff like that. And it was an all-day freaking thing. Like, it was an all-day down waiting game down there. Surgery didn't take more than 20 minutes, but I had to wait most of the damn day. I was excruciating, being hungry, your blood sugar being low, having to have an IV, we're not allowed to eat or drink nothing, because you'd aspirate on the table. That was the worst part, not being able to eat. But I made it through. Anyway, my grandmother's friend that was almost the same age as she was, that passed away this last year around the same time she did, he went with me and drove me home in my van. I didn't have nobody else, and now I don't have anybody to go anywhere with me. Now, if he was still here, he'd take me, but he's not. You can't find good people like that. He used to take us everywhere, because I lived a couple of years without having a car. He used to take me everywhere in his little Plymouth hatchback that he had from the 80s. You can't find good people like that. And it's not nobody, don't get me wrong, and this is a mindset that everybody out there in this world has got going on. What's in it for me? There's nothing in it for me. It's not my problem. It's their problem. I've got to do for myself. This self-centered, selfish mentality that we have created in these children. We've not grown them up. If somebody needs help, you need to help them. We don't grow them up like that. We grow them up, well, if there's nothing in it for you, then it's not your problem. We have told these kids that 1,000,000 times, and they think that. And we have made such a selfish generation, the last two. And I'm talking about my generation, the generation after that, and the new generation. They're just self-centered. I have seen people pass other people on the side of the road where their car had broke down, and I know, you're not going to put strangers in the vehicle. But little bitty kids, and they laugh and said, oh, I guess they're having a bad day, and just drive on by them. And I know, we have put so much dangerous stuff on TV, and there are a lot of bad people, and you can't just pick somebody up off the side of the road. I know that. But to have that attitude, they've had a bad day. And laugh at somebody's misfortune, it's just like hateful. It's 4:30. I just woke up. I had acid reflux. One day, maybe, in the future, maybe it'd be something to look forward to. Maybe having another child, not ending it with the death of a child and tragedy and heartache and all that. But right now in my life, there's so much chaos still left. My grandma just died a couple months ago. This is the first holiday without her. And it's really screwed me up, losing her. Somebody said I was real screwed up from my ex. Well, Ex done a lot of bad shit to me. I can't say he didn't. Both of them have. My husband and my ex-boyfriend that I have children with. They treated me really dirty. And it's a lot to get over all that. It really is. But that's not what screwed me up. Screwed me up is losing the one person that has been constantly in my life for the last 34 years. That's what screwed me up. That sounds awful, honey. Well, I'm glad you got a husband. It's like that song, How Do I Say Goodbye to Somebody That I've known my whole life that gave me my name? And they call me her name. And it's just a reminder of it every time my name's spoke. She's right over here in this shelf. I walk by her every time I go to the kitchen and back in here. You know, I've never got over her passing. And, you know, in my heart, I knew people don't live forever. And life expectancy in our family, if you're lucky, is 80. She got like 2 years, she was like 79 when she passed, about to have her 80th birthday. So, I knew, you know, I knew, like, mentally, smartly, that she wouldn't live much longer, but I wasn't ready. And you're never ready. Yeah, my dogs want to go outside, but I don't want to wake the whole neighborhood up, so I'm going to wait about an hour. Mine back under's barking and go out. But it's a hard thing to lose somebody. It makes Christmas a little less than what it should be. She always loved things that I got her for Christmas. It didn't matter what it was. I remember she loved big jewelry and costume jewelry. Anything that was purple, she loved it. And she had these big old ungodly rings that she used to love to wear. And I wanted to get her another ring. She had a big old ring that was crystal. And it was my uncle that passed away's birthstone that he got her for Mother's Day. I don't know what happened to it. Probably Norma got it. That's my aunt. And she lost it. But she always had to have rings and necklaces and big old earrings in her ears. I made sure that at her funeral she had earrings and rings. I wanted to put a do-rag on her because that's what she liked. And the freaking people at the nursing home took some shit up there, and they put that on her instead of what I told them to put on her. And my grandma's memory was tarnished, and the whole funeral was screwed up by what they did, and they deserve to be sued about it. They really do, because you don't do that. You don't do that to somebody's grandma. they done her makeup, and she looked like Bozo the Clown. And they put a wig on her that made her look like she was trying to impersonate Tina Turner, because she had thinning hair. And I told them to put a head rag on her. I would have tied it if they needed me to tie it. I wish I wouldn't put no makeup on her. Just none. Because they put white makeup on her face. She was very, very dark complected. No. They're supposed to do her makeup to make her look like, natural, or she's alive or whatever. To kind of comfort the family. And they're supposed to do whatever their loved ones tell them to do, not whatever the nursing home says. When they have spoke to the loved ones and they know what they want them to do. Because she is my grandmother, she is not nursing home's grandma. So you don't get to overrule me and do whatever in the hell you want. And make my grandma look like a freaking clown up there. She was, and everybody's like, well, she dead. I mean, it ain't no big deal. It is, because my grandmother was really self-conscious about her appearance. And that just tarnishes her whole memory. And that's the last memory I have of her. Well, white face makeup on. White. Drawed her eyebrows in, just black as everything. Put the darkest eyeshadow I have ever seen on her eyes. And bright red lipstick. She liked dark lipstick like I did. Black or really dark purple. I think really dark purple would have been the best bet. And to do her makeup, not white. Because she wasn't white-skinned. She was my grandma. And the rest of us is partly Indian. And she's got more Indian in her than the rest of us does, of course, because she's the older one of the bunch. Hush. You're alright. Anywho, she was very, her skin was dark. Her skin was brown. So, white makeup on her was not ideal. But anyway. I miss her. It doesn't help that she was laid to rest at the funeral home where I have laid my mom to rest, my Uncle Gerald, my papa, my great-grandma, and my ex-husband. All at the same funeral home. This is like pouring salt in a damn wound. But I'm gonna get up and let these dogs out, and I'm going to take a shower and get cleaned up and fresh for the Monday week going forward. And whatever happens. Just happens. And it is what it is. My great-grandmother passed away in 2004. My great-grandpa passed away in 2004, 6 months apart to the day. I didn't have nobody after they passed. I lost my mom 4 years later. Well, 5 years later. I was 27 when my biological father passed away. I hadn't spoke to him in about a year or so, because he just wasn't a good dude. I lived with my grandmother. We slept in the same bed. We were really close, somewhat. I had a lot of anger and resentment towards her for things that she didn't do, but I didn't factor into it back then like I do now that I'm older and wiser and know, kind of how things was. And she had a lot of mental issues, and she went through a lot of abuse in her life, in her marriage, and with her mom. Her mom was bipolar and wasn't ever treated, or had something worse, and she was very abusive. No, my grandmother didn't raise me. She made it very clear she didn't want me, that I was not wanted. She raised my half-brother. I was dumped wherever I could be dumped and left. Joanna Warren was my grandmother's name. And that's where a lot of the resentment comes. And she knew about the abuse that I was going through, and she didn't do anything. And that's where a lot of the resentment and the anger that I had for her come from. But I still stuck by her and tried to take care of her and tried to, forgive her. Nobody raised me. My mom left when I was 8 years old. I started getting abused sexually. My grandmother, she left me with my great-grandma and grandpa. Now, my great-grandpa would have took care of me, but my grandmother didn't want me there because she was staying there taking care of my half-brother that was abusing me. So she sent me to my mom, sent me by somebody, or called her and aggravated her until she come and got me. My mom took me wherever she was off getting high at and left me. Or she would trade me or sell me to men. So I knew I was not wanted 110% by anybody. I lived with a man that she was getting stuff from for almost a year. So nobody raised me. I had to figure it out for myself, and I figured out wrong. And I've made a lot of poor decisions in my life, and I'll probably make a lot of more poor decisions out of desperation or just need of something. And I have run from that so many years. I was like, if I don't talk about it, it didn't happen. That's not true. I buried all that trauma. I buried it, so I wouldn't have to deal with it. And then it just festered, just like an infection that you don't go and get antibiotics for. It just festered. Then, when my mom passed, I left and went to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I ran away because I wasn't wanted. They was going to put me in a home. They was going to put me in a girl's home. Because they didn't want me. They couldn't control me. I wouldn't obey them. So I run away. I run away with this boy, this man. I was a young girl. I ran away with this man that me and him had been sleeping together. And him and his mother used me to get every penny they could of my mom's insurance money out of me. And then had one of their friends that I was staying with assault me while I was pregnant and caused me to miscarry. And ripped out part of my hair and caused me trauma. She went to jail, got a year's probation and a no contact order from me for life. And I moved in with this woman and her girlfriend and her family, and they didn't want me there either. So I had to go back to Crane Hill, as I refer to it. It was Crane Hill, Alabama, and Coleman County. I had to go back there. And guess what? While I had been gone for a year, my half-brother had turned it into a trap house. And they were addicts everywhere. And my grandma was living in this and acted like it was okay. My husband's sister's boyfriend, long-term boyfriend that she'd been with, that was her youngest daughter's father, brought him up there to get high. And that's how I met my husband. And I didn't know. I mean, I knew that my brother and them were on it, but I didn't really know that he was on it. But he was. And I was like, we can't be together unless you get clean. Like, I won't have it. This man put some of that in my drink and drugged me. And said that it was an accident and it would never happen again. But it happened again after we were married. Happened again. I won't drink anything if somebody's in my house. I'll pour that shit out. I won't drink it. Like, I won't. I've never done anything, like that on my own. I never wanted to. I won't. But that was the most scariest thing that ever happened to me. I've never even mentioned that. And he abused me mentally, physically, and sexually. The entire marriage. He always ran around with somebody else. I was disposable. I didn't mean anything to him. I was just somebody to have children for him and his family. That's all I was. And he made that very abundantly clear to me. And I tried to make it work a little bit longer than I should have. I admit that. But after my son was born, I wanted to get a divorce. And he had me locked up. Yes, I loved him. I loved that man. I can't say that I didn't. He had me locked up. And my last two children, I did not have because I wanted to have them, because I wanted to be with him. I had them because he forced me to have them. He forcibly impregnated me. And I had two more children with him. And I remember every awful, painstaking detail of it. Every single thing that he done, I remember it. It is burned into my memory. And then people tried to rob me that was staying there with my brother. And I use that term very loosely, and I say that to everybody on here. And they would try to do things to me, and I would have to sleep with my grandmother or put a lock on my bedroom door. So my husband's sister's boyfriend that would come up there with him, he always tried to sleep with me, and I didn't want nothing to do with him. I knew that he was with her, and they had been together for over 10 years, and they had children. They had two children, not just one, but two. She had a child when she was a teenager that wasn't biologically his, and then they had a daughter together. I didn't want nothing to do with him, but he was very adamant, and it hurt his pride that I wouldn't be with him, which I don't see what the difference would have been. It was two scumbags either way. But anyway, I never knew that my husband had a girlfriend that he had two boys with. I knew about his first wife because I had met her and their two children. And they had three, actually. They had another child after that. I asked him if he was divorced, and he's like, yeah. But he didn't tell me that he was living with a woman, and they had three children. She had a daughter, and they had two sons. Never. I didn't find out that until afterwards. After we were already married. He lied to me from the very get-go. And it wasn't very long after we were married, like a couple days, right around Christmas, that I found out I was pregnant with Katie. And my grandma was like, you can't have a baby without a man. You have to have a man help you, you know, you'll have to stay with him now. You're going to have a kid. No, I didn't. If I would have went and got divorced or my marriage annulled as soon as I found out I was pregnant, never told nobody, I'd have been so much better off. But I didn't. But anyway, years later, the POS that was with my ex-sister-in-law told her that me and him had something going on back then. And she's like, oh, but you got her in the house and y'all wanted to hook up. No, honey, I never wanted him. I never wanted him at all. Nope. Well, he cheated on her all them years that they was together, I believe. Just like my ex done, all them years. And she got on, when, online dating started taking off and Plenty of Fish and all that, she got on there and started cheating on him. And guess what? What is good for the flounder is not good for the bass, and what's good for one ain't good for the other one. You can't do that to a man. You can't cheat on no man like they cheat on us, because they'll straight up leave our ass. So he got butt hurt and left her. He got ass hurt and left her, and they broke up, and they was no more. Which they had a very toxic relationship, and it was probably past time, and she probably wasn't even happy. Anyway, I doubt she was. But, anywho, their daughter was a teenager. They had stayed together for a long damn time. You can't cheat on no man. They get ass hurt about it. Y'all know that. I never cheated on mine. He always cheated on me. My husband used to trade me to his friends to pay off debts. And then slut shame me afterwards. I can't believe you done that, even though that I forced you to do it. I can't believe you done that. Why would you do that? You're such a whore. That's what I got. And one day, his brother come up here. He moved back up here. I'm not going to say his name. His brother moved back up here. And we were at his grandma's, and his brother says, "Hey, I'm going over to your sister's house. Do you want me to take her back over there to be with the kids?" I still had the kids then. So I had custody of them. And he just looked at me. And I could tell the way that he was looking at me that I better say no. If I would have went with his brother back to his sister's house, he would have accused me for the rest of my life, or the rest of his, of screwing his brother. And he would have jumped all over me and caused the biggest damn scene that you've ever seen in your life. And that's what he done. And I never did. I never wanted to sleep with my brother-in-law. I wasn't allowed to talk to nobody. I wanted to sleep with them. So, when my children were born, he didn't claim any of them. He said they was somebody else, and I had been sleeping with everybody. The only ones I slept with is the ones that he made me. I didn't get pregnant by none of them. So that was my life up until then. We divorced in 2014. And you know how he repaid me for my little deceit, he called it, my divorce, my lying to him about the divorce. He said I lied to him, that I didn't explain to him that we would never be together again when we got divorced. He assaulted me in my grandmother's front yard. And I spent 13 freaking weeks in the hospital, and I didn't even know if my son would survive it. And he stayed real close to me down there at the hospital. And I got so accustomed to it that I actually wanted him there. I don't know what the frick was wrong with me. So he went back to his family's, got scabies, brought it back to me, and gave it to me and my newborn son. That was their reasoning behind wanting my son, because I had got scabies and gave it to him. And never had it since I cut off contact with him. I never caught lice or nothing else. So, after me and him split up, and him and his family took my kids away from me, along with the help of the department. I started not giving a shit. I wouldn't leave the house, didn't leave the house for over a year, I think. Wouldn't even go outside. Just slept and eat. And then I got a van. Somebody gave my grandma a van. I started going out a little. And then I just started going out and staying gone. I stayed gone all the time. I slept with anybody that would sleep with me. I didn't care. I never used a condom. I didn't care if I caught something. I told myself I deserved whatever I got. I don't know how many people I was with, but it was a lot, probably. I'd go off, stay with people. They would do stuff and get high. I never did, but they would. They was drinking and stuff. And I didn't care. Didn't care one bit. I caught some kind of infection one time. I had to get it treated, and it was the most embarrassing thing in the world. To me. And then I started trying to be more careful. But I didn't really care. What's the point? I said, what's the point of being here and being on this earth without my kids? I don't care. Well, then I got it in my head, maybe if I turn my life around, that I can get them back. And I bought that trailer. No, I'm not pregnant. I know I wasn't. I bought that trailer that I moved here from, and had the old church house burnt, which upset a lot of damn people. I can't believe you done that. Ain't no good. I wanted some stuff out of there, and you burn it, and now I can't get nothing. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but it had to be done. And I put my trailer over there, and I was fixing it up when I got pregnant with Katie, Kathy. But I was still doing the same shit that I had been doing since my kids were taken. I was sleeping with people, whoever I could sleep with, whoever would come over. And that's how I got with my child's daddy. Yes, that's a dog crying. I'm about to go let it out. I remember the day that I posted it. I was so excited when I got that positive pregnancy test with her. And I posted it on social media. And at first, he didn't want anything to do with me. He said, I have a girlfriend. I don't want nothing to do with you. And she's really upset with me. And I want to be with her. And I love her. And then his girlfriend lied and said that she was pregnant with 4 babies. He shouldn't, anybody in their right mind. But anyway, he's like, and we're gonna get married, so she's my fiance now, and I don't want nothing to do with her, and I'll just take you to court and get partial custody of the baby. And I'm like, what an asshole. So they break up. He starts apologizing. He wants to be there. His family wants to be there for me and the baby. They're so sorry about everything. He's wanting to get together and work it out and try to be a family for the baby. And against my better judgment, with my little voice screaming inside my head, don't damn do it, it's a trap, like last time, I tried to make a go of it. And it was 2 years of pure freaking hell. It was just like my marriage. Him and his family treated me like dirt. I had no say-so in nothing, how my child was raised or anything. Everything was my fault. And then they took her. It's like my ex and his family done. Because they know what had happened to me in the past, so it was easy to do it now. I didn't lose my daughter. I didn't lose custody of my daughter. I didn't lose custody of my other kids. They were forcibly removed from me against my will. I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant with a second baby. And I remember how I found out. It was just like I took a pregnancy test and just discovered it. And I was happy. I wanted to be happy in my pregnancy. There was a lot of, in the early part of Kathy's pregnancy, there was a lot of people that was angry at me for being pregnant. Why are you pregnant? You need to go and have an abortion. You can't keep it. You need to just give it to us. You need to just give it away. Or a lot of people was like, well, you know you can't keep it, so I don't even know why you're contemplating on your decisions. You need to end the pregnancy or just give it to us. And you better do this, and you better do that. And I had so much on me. So much on me. Nobody was happy about it. I couldn't be happy with it because of everybody else. So I was really excited for this little baby that I was pregnant with, my little son that I lost. That, you know, I can finally have a good pregnancy, a happy pregnancy. I'm in a relationship. We have a home. We have a little girl. I mean, it'll be a lot on me to have two. It's been a long time since I've had 2 kids. But I was happy. And when I went to go tell him, he's like, why are you pregnant? We can't even take care of the one we got. I can't believe that you tricked me into getting you pregnant again. I've got to go, and just got pissed off and stormed out. And I'm left there in tears. And his mom comes in there, if you're pregnant, you got to eat this, and you got to do this, and you're going to have to change stuff, and you're going to have to get rid of this, and you're going to have to do that, and you're going to have to do a lot of things different. You're going to have another baby. You're going to have to... And I'm like, I didn't even want to tell anybody yet. I wanted to wait. I wanted to do a little cute announcement, and he ruined it. He ruined all of it for me. I bought my daughter a little shirt that says Big Sister on it, and I couldn't even use it because he told everybody before I wanted to tell. So he ruined it. And then 13 or 14 weeks in, they took my daughter And the stress killed my baby. And that's what my doctor said. The stress killed that baby. So, my baby passed away, and I had to have him at 17 weeks. And they cut off my utilities as a punishment for disobeying them. It's all in a punishment. Talking about trying to blame the mailman for them calling the DHR on me and talking to the DHR and getting the DHR involved to take my daughter away. Telling me that the mailman thought I was starving because I was skinny and all that, or no, he wanted to sleep with me because he was nice to me, or he was one that's all they done. Like, anybody I talked to, they was trying to do something against me or them or something like that. And they would come up there when somebody'd come and just sit there, just tell them stuff on me that well, she done this and she done that. She couldn't keep the house clean. No, I couldn't with a slob living there that's bringing home junk and piling it everywhere, which that place looks like it needs to be condemned from the last picture they posted on social media about it. Yeah, I had animals. I had got some chickens and some ducks, along with my dogs, because I thought it would be something fun for me and Kathy to do together. And then I realized that the chickens freaked me the hell out. So I gave them away. But they was outside. The ducks are nasty. Like, don't do ducks. Ducks are nasty little creatures. Like, you gotta paw it. So I just have my dogs. I want to get rid of some of my cats. I'm thinking about getting rid of some of my older Shih Tzus, maybe, if I could find an appropriate home. I've always been scared that I'll give them away and something will happen to them, and then I'll never forgive myself. Ducks are nasty. Nasty as hell. And I got some guinea pigs because I had one when I was a kid, and it was really friendly, and these wasn't, so I gave them away because they just wasn't what I remembered, you know? So anyway, I got animals when everything was really difficult for me. It was easy for me to get animals, pour all my feelings and everything in them animals and work, so I didn't have time to think about the bad things. But you can't do that. You can't, get so much on you that you have no time to sit down and think about anything. I have not got any new animals in 8 months. I have not kept any of my puppies. I have actually got rid of some. And I will not be getting any more. Even though my friend owes me a puppy, and I could get a puppy, I'm not. Other people cause me to get animals. And even though I feel like I'm helping them because some of them are in bad situations, when you get overwhelmed, your animals that you already have don't get the proper care because you can't afford to take care of them. So other people have caused any kind of problem that I have. And I gotta go, my wiener's barking, so I gotta go let her out. And they took me and dumped me out right back where I come from, across the street from my half-brother that abused me. Honey, you don't live that far away. You're just a state away. I'm in Alabama. It's just a couple hours. It's like 3 or 4 hours up here. It's not that far. I've drove to Kentucky a million times. I used to go down there and trade puppies with a woman that was a breeder. She's probably passed away now. She was in her 60s or 70s. You don't live that far away from me. Well, you could come visit your friend for the holidays and you could get a puppy and take it back with you. I'm just saying. You could make a trip out of it. You probably got kids and a life and stuff and can't. How many puppies? You could do that. You need to come up here and get one of these babies. I've got 7 left. Go back here and get this wiener and take it out. I gotta take my big dogs out first and then go get the wiener. My wiener's barking. Anyway, I've got one little girl left. Her name's Tinkerbell. But I have poured my heart and soul into my puppies and my dogs over here, my cats. My cat killed 4 rats last night. They're about 3 months old. I got one girl and the rest of them are little boys. But boys and girls are the same, honey. You put a wrap on a boy if it marks. Keep it from marking. The little boys, you can put things in their hair and clothes on them just like you can the girl dogs. Average size for a wiener dog. I don't know. I ain't got but one, and she's 14 years old, and I found her in the middle of the road and took her home with me. Somebody had thrown her out. Quit. I don't know what the average weight or size is for a wiener. She don't one I've got. She's extra fat, though, in case y'all was wondering. I don't have wiener dogs. I just said I had Shih Tzus. Oh. I had a Chihuahua that died and her puppies. Yeah, they need to be tube feeding them puppies. If they bottle feed them, they can aspirate and cause pneumonia in their lungs. The only survival they have is tube feeding because most puppies don't live through bottle feeding. Puppies, like kittens, you can bottle feed a kitten all day, but puppies are the worst freaking animal to aspirate into their lungs when you're bottle feeding. So tube feeding is the best for them. It's pretty easy to learn. You can do a tutorial on YouTube, but tube feeding is the way to go with puppies. I actually have a kit over here. If feeding is the way to go with puppies. I actually have a kit over here if something happens. They don't have no milk and can't feed their babies or lax the ability to take care of them, the other mama will take them. So I don't have to do the bottle feeding, not bottle feeding, but teeth feeding thing. But puppies like aspirate, really. That's why they feed them out of a bucket or like a straw or something. That they don't want to bottle feed them or try to put them with another mare that's lactating. Yeah, I mourn my dogs hard because, I mean, they've been here. Me and them suffered. We've suffered through my family and my ex and everything they done. And they went through suffering over there at my mobile home, not having, like, adequate heat and water and stuff like that. We've all suffered here together. So they've been in the trenches with me, and we've made it to the other side. A man approached me over there in Coleman and wanted to buy my mobile home, and he wanted it for access to his land without having to go through the house property that he had bought. He just wanted to keep the land that he had bought and sell the house to somebody else and then have an access through my property and make him a road. An easement. Yep, he wanted it. No, not an easement. He wanted my property so he could drive onto his land. And also wanted rid of me because my dog's barking made people not want to buy the house. So he offered me, sort of. He offered me to purchase my land. He just wanted the land. He didn't want my mobile home. He just wanted the land. Well, I was like, well, there are two other people. And I knew, I'm okay. I knew that I could get my brother to say yes because my brother was an addict and he wanted money to go and get high with. So I knew that he would say yes, and I knew that I would have to be nice to him to get him to say yes, to sign it. And that was the most painstaking shit that I've ever been through in my life, thinking that he wasn't going to do it because he would try to renege, want more money, wanting them to pay them more and more money. And they're not going to pay you any more money than they're offering. And they offered a very generous amount, $20,000 over asking price. You're not going to get any better than that, like with land. And it was less than an acre. So he agreed. He made our aunt agree. I talked to her and I told her, Norma, I want you to do this for me. I want to get away from here. I'm going to end up in jail. Either him and his girlfriend's going to get me put in jail on some kind of trumped up charge that they're guilty of, or animal control's going to take all my dogs away and fabricate evidence and put me in jail for animal abuse. Because they was watching me and stalking me. And I've got to get out from here. And I don't want to live next door to somebody that abused me. I don't. And having to see them every single day that they pull out of their damn driveway. So they signed. They got 15 split up between two. 15 grand. He deeded me this property and gave me a bill of sale as is to this mobile home. And here I am. And when I got over here, and seen all the walls separated and falling off. I touched the bathroom wall, and the whole bathroom wall fell down, and all the water damage, and it poured water in back there in the back bathroom. I said, girl, you got yourself in a fix, ain't you? How am I gonna afford to fix this? And I have prayed and prayed and prayed for God to send somebody either to financially help me fix it or to come over here and go to Lowe's and get the stuff that I need and help me fix it. And I don't know if he ever will. I've got a couple of people saying that they'll come over here and help me, but I don't have much faith in them, because this is what's standing in between me and having some kind of relationship with my children. You can't bring a child into a home that's the walls are falling in and there's mold behind the walls. It is not safe. My whole shower back under fell through. The dividing walls fell through. The sinks fell through the floor. And it's nobody's place to fix it for me. It's not. But I've got to have some help, because I've been trying to do it on my own, and I can't. I can't do it. I'm not physically able to fix this place as much as I would love to. I doubt that a man would want a Shih Tzu for fixing it. And Lord, I couldn't even trade one for that. I have a GoFundMe set up. Nobody will give to that. The only way that I'm going to get any money in a GoFundMe is if I pass away, and it's for funeral arrangements. That's the only way people help you, with a GoFundMe. Yeah, but honey, they're wanting $10,000 for labor. My puppies are not worth $10,000. I wish. Now, some men will exchange sex for fixing my place, and I'm not ready to stoop that low. $7. Yep. They're wanting 10 grand for labor. 10 to 15 is what it's going to cost. It'll be 15 with the materials. 15 grand. I have 6 males and 1 female. I gotta get up, fix me some oatmeal, and get these dogs out. In a minute, I'm laying here up under my cover where I'm warm because it's cold out there. Gotta do some laundry today. I went to sleep and my phone was off. No, the trailer is not worth more than 30. You couldn't find one in better condition for what was paid for this. You just don't understand. Everybody thinks that because it's a trailer or mobile home that it's cheap. I have seen them for 30, 40 grand that need 10 to 15 grand of work done to them. This trailer was 22 grand in the shape that it's in. If I went out and tried to buy another trailer, they're between $55,000 to $85,000 or higher. And it's the same, like, if I got rid of this mobile home and got another one, I would want one that was a double wide. I would want 5 to 6 bedrooms, because I'm going to have to put another bedroom in here somewhere for my youngest daughter. It's only 3 bedrooms. So, mobile homes, used ones that are 20 plus years old, some of them are completely gutted down to the frame, are selling between $15,000 and $20,000. That need $10,000 to $20,000 to $25,000 worth of work. So before you think that mobile homes are cheap, a cheap option, they are a cheaper option from a home, from an actual home, but they're not cheap when you don't have it. So I've had a lot of people, oh, well, you can go out for 5 or 6 grand and buy you like a brand new used mobile home. Honey, what world are you living in where you can go out for 5 or 6 grand and buy you a like new mobile home? It ain't this one, because it's going to cost you 10 to 15 grand just to move it. So they charge out the ass to move a mobile home. Yeah, like a double wide mobile home is $120,000. Interest rates are through the freaking roof right now. Your home payment will be over $1,000 a month. Probably about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. A used mobile home that is $80,000 to $90,000, your payments are $900. I said used, not new. A new one is $110,000. They're just as expensive as homes, and they don't hold up as long. The outside frame will, but when you have a mobile home, after about 10 or 15 years of living in it, you're going to have to completely gut it and redo it, and you're going to have to put another roof on it, or you're going to have to cool seal the roof every year. And people don't realize that when you buy a mobile home, or a modified home, as they're called now, I think, that you have to do maintenance and stuff on them. They're just, you can't just live in them. But after about 10 years, the damn roof will start leaking. The windows start leaking. They're like, mobile homes are temporary things. They're not meant to be like a, forever home. Especially because people get one and they move into it and they never do a damn thing to it and just let it fall apart. And I've seen so many people do that over the years. This one had to get the roof cool sealed. All the windows are leaking. There's so much water damage in here that it's freaking ridiculous. Yep. if I could afford to do that, it would take so much stress off of me to go get a new one. Just be done with it, a double wide or a triple wide that's big enough for me and all the kids, and have a little bit of extra room too. But the realization to that is that I don't. And I'm having a hard time struggling to get enough to remodel this for $15,000. I don't have 80 to 120,000, and there's nobody gonna go and buy me a new one. There's nobody gonna pay to have a house built here. So I've got to try to figure out how to pay $5 to $6 grand material and try to find somebody to help me do it for cheap or next to nothing. And that is awful to say, because their time, they should be paid adequately for their labor. But I don't have adequate funds to pay somebody that kind of money. And that's why there are contractors out here that make more than lawyers, because they think their time is worth $150 an hour, and it's not. It is not. Your time is not worth $150 an hour, and you got to break it down. If they've got a crew, then they're paying them crew a third of what they're making. A third. And that takes a little bit of their profit off. Maybe 10, 15%. But not that much. It is ridiculous what people thinks that their time's worth, and it's not. So when everybody says, just go buy you another one, honey, if I could afford to do that, don't you think I would already done that by now? Don't you think I've called about it? Don't you think that I know that I can't afford a $1,000 house payment when I don't even make $1,000 a month to pay all my bills and buy everything with? And that's why it's not already fixed, because I don't have enough coming in to go out. I don't have a checking account somewhere with $6,000 or $7,000 sitting around in it to just go and buy shit with. Come on. Disability benefits, you don't get extra money. You get just barely enough to sustain you for the month. And that's it. For one person. Like, it takes care of one person barely. And if you got children that you're having to try to support off of that check, it's doable, but it's not great. And everybody is having a really rough time. Now, I can pay my bills and have like $200 left to buy whatever I need. No, honey, I can't do that. I can't do drywall. I can't do bathroom remodels. For one, I don't have the strength of my body to do it. And for two, I can't lift drywall. Men have trouble lifting drywall. I can't lift and hold up drywall and screw it on the wall. That is not one of the things that I can do. And you're supporting the animals. Dog and cat food is expensive. No, it's not. It's not. I get coupons from the manufacturers. I spend like $100 a month on my animals. And I've had them for 10 years, and I will continue to support them. Because they deserve it. And they're all I have. They're my family. It's like telling me to take my family and dump them at a freaking shelter. They're just animals. They're just animals. They're not. Well, everything's expensive everywhere. But if you'll look, you can find sales on stuff. And it irritates me really bad that people come after my animals. You've got dogs, and you're wasting money on them dogs. And what you're wasting on them dogs can buy you a house. No, it can't. I can't buy no damn house for $100 a month. And truth be told, if I didn't spend it on the dogs, I'd spend it on something else that I needed. Because I'm always needing something. It wouldn't be saved. And you know how long it would take me to save up $15,000 with $100 a month, even in an interest drawing savings account? It would take me 45 years to save up that money with $100 a month. 45 years. I will be dead. Or close to it. I'll be in a home by the time I save all that money up. They're my freaking family. Don't come after my family. They ain't damn animals. They're my family. They're my children. They're my furries. Yeah, that's a long freaking time. I added it up. Even with a high interest drawing savings account that I'm not allowed to have, it would take me 45 years to save up the money to remodel my mobile home. 45 years. That mobile home ain't even going to be here in 45 years. I have been told I have several mental health. My mom had it. And so has a doctor ever told you that you had it? Because if a doctor don't tell you that you have mental problems, we all have mental problems, by the way, from trauma or something. I have worked through mine. It's took me a long time, but I have worked through mine finally. Oh, yeah. It's bad. I had to see a doctor every week. I'm sorry. But anyway, I have looked at every avenue that I can look at to try to figure this problem out and get it done. And even if I sell all my dogs, I don't even know if I'm going to have enough to get the material that I need to fix everything. Because when you start ripping stuff out and got water damage, you may have more than what you actually think you have. It costs more damn money because you need more material. But before I can do anything, I have to buy wire, fence posts, horse mats, and some plywood and some tin to fix this building out here for my dogs. The dogs have to be done something with. The cats have to be got out of the house before anything else can be done. Mental illness is hard. My great-grandma struggled with mental illness. My mom struggled with mental illness. My uncle does. I believe that my brother has a lot of mental problems. My aunt, everybody in my family. My great aunt, she died in Woodland Hills in Alabama. Not Woodland Hills, but Brazos. The old Brazos Hospital that closed down in Tuscaloosa. She died in there. She was institutionalized when she was about 19 or 20 years old, and she lived out her entire life into her 90s in Bryce's hospital and passed away. Back then, when they put you in there, you never got out. It's not like it is today. They don't put you in there and treat you for it and release you. When you was put in a home, in a mental facility like that, back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, you was there for life. You never got back out. Unless they done an lobotomy on you and you was deemed not at risk to anybody else or yourself. Or electric shock or something like that. And a lot of those treatments was very barbaric back then. They didn't have medicine like they do now. So she was put in there in the early 50s. So she lived in there from the early 50s until the 80s or the 90s. So she lived in there a long freaking time. She never had children. She never was married. I don't know if her mental illness was as bad as they said that she needed to be in there, but she was in there. And there was another member of my family. He was a first cousin to my mom, so I guess he was like a second cousin to me. He was permanently institutionalized. Does that cause maybe the way the people are brought up? Yeah, it's got a lot to do with it, trauma and stuff. But a lot of people are not equipped, and a lot of people are not educated enough to take care of somebody that has like schizophrenia, like they do now, or bipolar syndrome. And it was just easier for them to dump them somewhere than to take care of them. And they wasn't like outpatient treatments and stuff like that. So they just dumped them in a hospital, and they just stayed there and out of sight, out of mind, pretty much so. So when my second cousin went to institutionalized when he was young, it was in the late 70s, early 80s. They wasn't, like now there's so many like drugs and stuff they can give you with a lot of side effects, by the way. They wasn't back then. They wasn't really a lot of treatment. So they tried to put him in like a halfway house or something. And it didn't work out, so they had to put him back in there. And in there, he started hanging around with a woman that was in there with him. And her and him had the adult deed. And she ended up getting pregnant. She delivered the baby in the mental hospital, a little girl. And his mother had to go and pick her up from DHR, the Department of Human Resources up here, and take custody of her and raise her. And she raised her, and that girl had a lot of substance abuse problems and other problems. And she's finally, I think, doing good. And a lot of people would rather not go get treatment because they're afraid somebody's going to judge them for their mental health issues, and they self-medicate with street medication, something they can get from off the street, or alcohol. because they don't want other people to judge them. People think that they're crazy, and we put so many labels on things and making people feel bad for having mental problems and judging them for it, that most people are ashamed of it and they don't go and get treatment for it, or they feel like they can't go get treatment for it because somebody will judge them. Anyway, so I have a lot of people in my family that self-medicate. They're alcoholics or they're addicts, and they don't get the proper treatment that they need. No, that wasn't post-traumatic stress disorder. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. From everything I've been through, there's no way around that. It's like I was been tortured in some kind of camp somewhere. Like, I have a lot of flashbacks and stuff. There's no way around that. I don't. They wasn't that back then, and they would just call it hysteria. They have a hysteria, and we just need to put them away. They wasn't bipolar, and they wasn't schizophrenia, and they wasn't a lot of these things that we have nowadays. And some forms of mental illness back then was lack of education or disease. And it was misdiagnosed and called hysteria or something like that, or they're mentally ill and they can't be out in the world, and they were just locked away. And now it's a lot better. I mean, you're only put in an inpatient treatment if you want to be. If the court thinks that you're a harm to yourself or somebody else, they will order you into a inpatient treatment center. And when they think that they've got your meds right and everything, they will let you out. Back then it wasn't. You was in there for life. You was confined for life. Your family could go and commend you. Say, I want her in here, and she was in here. Like, back then, back in the 50s and the 60s, and probably up until part of the 70s, a woman that slept with a lot of men could be seen as having mental problems, or a woman that had a baby out of wedlock, could be mentally ill, and they could lock her away. And back then, they was forced sterilization if you had mental problems. So they could lock you away in a home and have a hysterectomy performed on you without your consent. And they done a lot of them. Get out of that kitchen. Whatever you're doing in there, pitter-pattering. So it was a different time than it is now. It's not like that now. Women didn't really have any rights back then. And, like, if for some reason it's your family let you keep your child and you got to come home with it when you got pregnant with it, you would have to marry somebody. And it didn't even matter if it's the child's daddy. You had to marry somebody, because if you had a child without a husband, you would be persecuted by every single body. Treated like the biggest hoe out there. There was no single moms. There was no going around here sleeping with a man and getting pregnant and just having the baby and you got options. There was none of that. Abortion, or smortion, was illegal until the late 70s. So if you wanted to have one, you would have to go to another country, or you would have to get some woman in a back alley to perform it, and you probably would get an infection and not make it. There was none of that. And it looked like we're headed towards that again, but there was none of that. My great-grandma told me stories about women that tried to induce a miscarriage at home, and it ended their life because they were so afraid of being pregnant. And women back then that were attacked by a man, there was nothing done about it. They would be made to marry who attacked them, or they would be told that it was their fault, that they led him on in some kind of way, and maybe they didn't dress as conservative as they should have. And it was all their fault. Nothing was ever done. If they didn't marry the man that done that to them, they would be married off to somebody else. And if they got pregnant in this attack, they would be shipped off to a woman's home to have the child and give it up for adoption, because she wasn't allowed to keep it. The only choice she had was to marry. And people take for granted now that we can have adult relations with anybody that we want, when it used to not be like that. It wasn't even like that when I grew up. You couldn't have relations with whoever you wanted. You couldn't be who you wanted to be. It just wasn't done. And when I was raised, and I had a single mom, having children and not being married was still very frowned upon. And it still is. And people mom shame a lot of women, I feel like, for being single mom and having multiple partners and stuff. And you don't realize how hard it is to find a partner that is actually decent in this world, because everything has been made so disposable and so easily to access now. Oh, you just get another one. If that one don't work out, you can just get another one. That's what we've been taught. We don't get taught when it's hard that we figure out a way to work it out. That's how marriage and relationships work. And we make sure before we get intimate with somebody and have sex with them that we're compatible. We don't get with somebody that's going to be toxic and bad for us and stuff like that. And there was a lot of toxic relationships back then, but guess what? There wasn't no divorce. Unless your husband agreed to it. It was no fault divorce like it is now. Unless he agreed to the separation and the end of the marriage, it couldn't be done, and sometimes it couldn't even be done then. And no, it wasn't just that way in the South. The North was the same way. Like, women just wasn't single and had children unless their husband had passed and they was a widow. It just wasn't done. And it's still frowned upon. People like, you need a husband, you need a boyfriend, you need a man, you need a partner to help you with children. You can't raise children by yourself. It is too hard. It is too expensive. It's too this. And you don't need anybody else. If we would lift people up a little bit more, and including single dads too. Like, you don't need a wife. You don't need a partner to raise your kids. You just need to be there for them and be a parent and be present. You don't need anybody else. You need to have confidence in yourself that you'll be okay. Even when it gets really hard, you'll be all right. Because everything in this world's temporary. All the hardships that you face, they're temporary. They'll be gone tomorrow. Nobody will even remember them. Nobody will even remember you when you're gone. You can do anything that you set your mind on. And for somebody to tell you that you need somebody else to do it is very wrong. And to put you down for some kind of decision that you made 10 or 15 years ago and throw that up in your face all the time like they do me. Like, I didn't do anything wrong to lose my kids. I was abused. I was lied to and just railroaded, and my children took away. I didn't do anything wrong to them. I didn't abuse them in any way. I never asked for it. But to this day, well, it's your fault because you married that man and you was with that man and you decided to have kids with him, and all that's your fault for the choices that you made in your life. And you have to live with that, and you'll never be any good. I don't want you around. I feel like you're just trouble. And that's what I hear. Like I'm a convicted murderer or something. And I'm not. And it breaks my heart. I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm doing life for it. Ain't that wonderful? And the first thing out of anybody's mouth when I had that positive test that I knew was bad or there's something else going on with me, because I know I'm not, you're going to lose it, right? To the state. You're going to lose your child to the state because you've had past dealings with them and they've been involved in your life and they're corrupt. You're going to lose it, right? So why would you even do that? Why aren't you on birth control? Oh my God. Why would you be that stupid? It's not that it happens, that birth control fails, that sometimes being an adult, you have to make hard decisions and you have to do things if it was so. But I knew it wasn't, and that's the only reason I said anything on here. I knew I wasn't. Yeah, and it's 2024, and people were slut shaming me because I had a false positive pregnancy test. I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have a committed relationship with anybody. I'm allowed to have a companion. I'm allowed to go out and date. I'm allowed to hook up with whoever I want to. The last time I checked, I'm a legal adult and I can do what I please. And nobody has the right to shame me for it or to tell me how stupid I am. I should be more precautious and use protection and all this. Lord, don't you think I know that? Don't you think that I do the best that I can, but everything is less than 100%? And I cared so much about what other people thought about me in my life that it hurt me really deeply that they thought that I was just this awful human being, and you're a terrible mom because you don't have your kids, and why would you want another child when you don't have none of your others, and you should just go and unalive yourself. And it used to hurt my feelings really bad, and over the last couple of years, I don't care. I don't care about other people's opinions. I don't care about their judgment of my life, that they didn't experience the pain and the anguish that I went through and everything that I lost and was taken from me. I don't care about that anymore. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to try to make peace with what's happened and all that. Yeah. I just got a restriction. Somebody reported my audio. It has not made me stronger. It has made me doubt myself. It has made me have trauma. It has made me trust people so much less. It has made me restrict my activity level and my interaction with human beings. But it has not made me any stronger. It has made me stubborn and not want to give up, but it does not give you strength. And that's a very misconception a lot of people have. It does not give you strength to be abused, to be neglected, to be tortured in your life, for things to be taken away from you that should never have been taken away from you, to lose children. It does not make you stronger. It turns you into somebody else. It traumatizes you. It makes you live less and fear more. I survive. I have been in survival mode my entire life, and I am tired. I can tell you, I am tired of fighting for what I have deserved from the minute that I come on this earth. Good morning. I never signed up for this battle. And God forbid that I ever do get pregnant with a child. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to let a single negative Nancy out here ruin my happiness like I have let people in the past ruin my happiness that should have been happy with me. They should be right here cheering me on that you got this, that you can do this. Everything's going to be okay, and I'll be here for you, and you don't have to worry. What happened in the past is in the past, and I can't do it. Well, if we have to, we'll get you a lawyer. That's the way they should be. Not, you should just go get rid of it. You should give it away. You can't have it. Why are you doing something that can get you in that way? You should know better than that. Hadn't you lost enough? I don't need that, even if I was, but I'm not, thank God. And I'm still young enough to have children. I am. And I know that. And that's why I try to be careful. You know, maybe in the future, somewhere down the road before I go all the way through menopause, maybe I'll have one. Maybe I won't never get pregnant again, but maybe I'll have another chance to be a mom somewhere down the line. Even if it's not my child, even if I don't get pregnant with it and have a baby. You know. Their life ain't perfect. Their life, 110%, their life is not perfect by any means necessary. Their life is broken. They have so many problems. But because they were allowed to keep their children, it was another time, or nobody has ever called on them and reported them and got somebody involved to take their children away, they're better than me, they feel like. Or even if they have lost their children for something that they actually did do, they're still better than me because I'm just worthless. So they're going to tell me how worthless I am because that makes them feel better. Does that make sense? They make you feel like shit to make themselves feel better. It gives people such happiness and validation in their life to break somebody else down because they think that they're less than them. Misery loves company, yeah. Sorta, but not. They get a little thrill out of it. They get a thrill out of making somebody else feel bad because they think that person is not as deserving of everything as they are. They think they're bad for their life decisions that they've made. If that makes sense. I pressed a bit, but people's opinions of me don't bother me. Oh, you got animals and you're so nasty. So what? You don't come to visit me. Don't worry about how my house is. Don't worry about my animals. Don't worry about what it smells. You don't smell it. You're not here. It doesn't stink because I couldn't stand it if it stunk. I don't like smells. I would love to slap people in the face. I'd love to, like, throat punch them too. But that will land you in prison really quickly. Because everybody now, used to, you could do something and people would get mad or maybe fight back or something. Now people will call the popo on you every single time and get you locked up because they're little P words. I don't do that. But anyway, I'm old school. I'm too old to be fighting. I'm too old, too sore, too broke down, too scrawny. I just let them run their stupid mouth. Just don't even respond. That makes them madder than anything if you just ignore them. I used to argue and fuss with people, and it don't do no good. It's like talking to a rock. They're right and you're wrong. They're always going to be right because they know more than you, and it didn't happen to them, so you're just a POS. I am trying to succeed, but I feel like I'm falling short every time, even though I bought this place and it's paid for. and I've got a car that just needs some work done to it, and I could drive it around town and stuff. I need to try to figure out a way to buy me a vehicle. I want a van. I want a Dodge Charger, not a Dodge Charger, that's not a van. I would love a Dodge Charger, by the way. That is an awesome damn car. Caravan, a Dodge Caravan is what I want. I want a white one. It'll have mud all over it. But any other color would work. I try to, everybody's like, be proud of yourself. Look how far you've come. Look what you've got yourself out of. You're not a statistic. You're not somewhere in the ground because you didn't get out in time. You lived through it. You survived it. Look how far you've come. And look what you've got. But it's not enough because my kids are not here. And I feel like I've not done enough because I haven't got them back and I haven't done everything. And it's taken so much time to get it done because I don't have the finances to do it. I told somebody, I said, I will be proud of myself when it's done. When I get everything fixed and I get my life back together. I'm not there yet. And I don't feel proud of myself because I'm not there yet. It don't matter how far you come, it's what you get when you get there. To me. I have slept in the streets many, many times in my life. Yeah, I could still be abused. I could be forced to have my dogs euthanized like my ex wanted me to do. And his mom, I could be forced to do that. I could still have my daughter, and my other baby, but told exactly what I'm going to do with them every second of every day. Told what I'm going to do. He could still be cheating on me, treating me like dirt, taking all my money away from me, making a mess, and then tell me I'm nasty because the house ain't spotless. Tell me I'm lazy because I'm sick and can't get up, clean it up. Making me feel like I'm less, me being unhappy. In an unhappy relationship with a man that would rather go out and pay for it than to touch me, and making me feel like there's something wrong with me, wrong with my body, I'm not pretty enough. And I still feel like that. Like my body and, not being pretty enough. But I don't know, that's not true. Nobody's ever told me I'm pretty. They've told me I'm cute. Like a freaking dog. A dog's cute too. I've never been told that I was pretty. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to look at my ex when we were doing things. I had to lay face down, or it always had to be from behind. He never looked at me. Never made and it made me feel really bad. And we didn't do stuff after my daughter was born, but maybe 4 or 5 times, because he didn't want anything to do with me. He was like, you've had a kid and everything's messed up down there, and it's gross, and there's no way that it's gonna be like it was. Yeah, that's what he'd tell me. And he would period shame me for having my cycle. Tell me how nasty I was. He didn't want to be anywhere near me when I had it. Where are the men that are not the P word? You know what I'm talking about. P-U-S-S-Y. Where are them men at? Like, because a real man would be bringing in the freaking period towel, some Midol, and telling you the little ketchup on his hot dog wouldn't bother him. Because that's a real man. They ain't scared of girls' periods. They're not making a girl feel insecure because they want to cheat. Like, where are they at? Because what the hell was I even thinking being with that jerk? No, look, when I first got with him, he wasn't like that. He made me believe that he was something he wasn't. Let me just put that out there. And once I realized it was too late, yeah. He told me if I went and tried to get custody of my other children, which my lawyer said I had a good chance with having Kathy to get them back, they would take away my daughter. And he told me, I hate you. You can leave anytime you want to. But me and my mom will take Kathy away from you. That you're the worst person I have ever met in my life, and I hate you, and I wish that I had never met you. If it wasn't for our daughter, I wouldn't even speak to you. And if you don't shut up, because I can't stand to hear you talk, I will make you shut up. I will beat you in the face. That's what he used to tell me. And if she was to fall and scrape her knee, you're a freaking POS. Scream at him. I mean, he's screaming. I'm talking. He was screaming this into my face. Blood curdling, screaming at me. And he would say, I will unalive you if anything happens to her. I will unalive you. You should be watching her. You're a shitty mom. It's all your fault. You do all this wrong. And after a while, you start to believe all that. Am I really that? Mental abuse is worse than physical. And he would punch the wall, punch a big hole in the wall, break something, and then leave and stay gone. at his sister's or somebody else's house for a couple of days. Oh, she's being a bitch again. All you do is be a bitch to me. All you do is start arguments with me about everything. All you do is control me and tell me what to do. You're the reason why I don't work, because you made me stay at home with you and help you with these dogs, and you don't even pay me. First of all, you quit your damn job or got fired because you wouldn't go. It wasn't because of me. Second of all, I wanted you to work, but you never would. But you could run around with other women and pay for it. Also, he would say, all you do is embarrass me everywhere we go. I can't take you anywhere, and you're just wasting my time. I've got things I need to do. I've got work I need to do. But he didn't work. He never got paid to work. Unless it was like $20 or something for a pack of cigarettes, and he'd stay gone all freaking day. Yeah. Everything was my fault. Everything. Oh, and I caught him running around with women and doing other things. No, he don't work now. But it's probably still my fault somehow. I ain't even talked to him in 2 years. Probably still my fault. But when I took my truck keys away from him and told him he wasn't allowed to drive my truck no more, and I should have just kept them because he blowed that bitch up. His mother come down there and talked to me, told me I was going to have to stop my shit and give him my freaking truck keys and let him drive my truck because he needed to go back and forth to work and stuff. And he didn't even freaking work. He done maintenance for a little while, but she didn't pay him. He didn't make anything. And if he did, he would go and blow it on smugs or totaled out cars and say that he could fix them. That he was a mechanic and he could work on them and fix them. He did know a little bit about cars, but he was no mechanic. I knew more about the cars than he did. He got a lot of them, and after what my car did, I believe that they had jump time. Oh, he was. And he would accuse me of having men over there when he wasn't there. He'd accuse me of trying to sleep with anybody I talked to. Oh, you're wanting to sleep with him. You're wanting to screw him. He would say, F him. You wanting to F him. That's why you're talking to him. Why are you flirting with another man? I'm like, I'm talking to him because I'm nice to him. Does not mean that I am flirting with him. That's the way it was. Like, you never want to go anywhere with me. You never feel like it. Well, maybe if I didn't get up at 4:30 in the morning and have a child all freaking day, and she stayed up till 11 or 12 o'clock at night, no matter what I did, she would not go to bed. I would feel like doing something else. And maybe if I didn't get pregnant again and have the most worst form of morning sickness that they call it something that I can never remember the name of that. But I had that. And I get it every time I'm pregnant. And I feel like I'm dying. Maybe, that I feel like something. So when the house got dirty, I had that. I had that really bad morning sickness, and I had patches that went on my neck. I had pills. They were 4 or 5 puppies in the house. They was Dalmatians. I didn't have pads to go up under them, except for like the disposable ones. I didn't even know they was washable ones back then. And the morning that they took Kathy away, the puppies had pooped in the floor, and it stunk a little bit in there. And I got up every morning. There was no old poop in there, and got up and cleaned it up. And I had just got up, and we haven't even eaten breakfast, so I was going to feed her breakfast, and then I was going to clean up after the puppies and clean up some in there because the kitchen was nasty from him. The bedroom was nasty from him. I kept the living room cleaned and picked up because me and her stayed in there during the day most of the time, unless it was nice out, and then I would take her outside and we'd play outside. But she had to be sprayed with bug repellent because he wouldn't cut the grass. He wouldn't keep the yard clean. Good morning. And I didn't like taking her outside because he would bring trash up there and old car parts and stuff, and I was scared that she was going to get hurt on it. There wasn't really anywhere that she could play. The yard was not clean where she could play. So I would keep her inside and try to entertain her and play with her inside, and she would make messes with her toys and whatnot, and I would have to clean all that up. And I can remember sitting in the floor falling to sleep, trying to keep myself awake where I could watch her because she was still awake, and feeling like I was just going to pass out. And there was nobody there to help me. And Kathy come over to me and picked my shirt up and wanted a nurse, and she laid down with me and went to sleep. And I got enough energy to move up to the couch, and I just like passed out or fell asleep. I was just so out of it. Like, I was so weak and tired because I couldn't eat anything. I'd throw everything back up, and I couldn't keep nothing down, and I was just so sick. And he come in and told me if I wasn't so fucking lazy, the house would be clean. All I done was sit around and sleep. I didn't even take care of her right. She didn't have this and that, and I didn't cook for her every day, and she had to eat junk, is what they called it. She shouldn't be eating pizza and takeout and stuff. She should be eating home-cooked meals 3 times a day when I didn't even have a stove and all I had was a hot plate. Because they had a gas stove in there and it didn't work. They didn't even have an electric outlet for a stove. And he went and got a stove and it blew up. Blew the line loose on it and caught the wall on fire. But I guess that was my fault too. So they were saying the house was nasty. Yeah, my puppies pooped in there. I cleaned it up. If he would have made a pen for them outside like I'd been asking him to for like a month and a half. Before that, they wouldn't even have been inside because they was 12, probably about 10 weeks old, and they was plenty big enough to be outside. They was vaccinated. They could go out. Look, I had income. I didn't have to work. Kathy had income for her benefits. For her, food and diapers and whatever else she needed. She had income. I didn't have to work. I was covered. I shouldn't have been made. I was the man. I did make the income. I did have that role of bringing in the money to pay everything, to make sure that there was enough adequate income to make sure the lights and water and insurance and everything else was paid. He didn't contribute to that household. His cigarettes was bought, because he smoked a pack a day. His cigarettes that were $5 a box, probably $6 and something a box, was bought every day. His habit was paid for every day. I did that. I paid off all his fines, got his license back. He owed $4,000 in fines that had been sitting there for 6 or 7 years before I even met him. I had to pay that off because he just kept on getting in trouble for driving under suspension. He had to have SR-22 insurance. I paid all that. I fed him. I bought the food and fed him and cooked it because he wouldn't even cook it. He would cook every once in a while, but it made him mad. He would be in there throwing shit. He never washed no dishes. There was dishes piled up with grease on them that had to be thrown in the garbage. They'd been sitting there for about 2 years. He'd bring grease in and get it all over everything. He would put cigarette butts out in Coke cans and then knock them over in the floor, and the whole house smelled like a wet ashtray. I'd have to keep Kathy in the front of the house because he's back there chain smoking in the back. Yeah, dumped all the household responsibilities, all the child care, all the bills on me, and then said I was lazy. The reason why the house wasn't clean, everything wasn't done, I was lazy. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't allow him to work. That's why he didn't work, because I didn't allow it. So he went out and got a job for a couple months. I doubt he's still there. After me and him split up, he met some woman, married her. He's living with her, probably driving her truck. I don't really know what's going on with him. I don't care enough to know. But when I moved in there, his water was disconnected. Had been for over a month. Owed $200 or $300 on it. Lights were in disconnect. They was $700 back owed light bill. The home that his mother and stepfather owned, that we were put in to live, was not a home. It was wannabe tiny home. It was a shed that they had put power in and water lines, and it wasn't even done right. They didn't, it wasn't finished. It had a lot of work that needed to be done too. There was a lot of water damage in the living room, on the floor, around the door. And the electric wasn't done right. Breakers slipped all the time over there. That's right, a big fire hazard. And I guess they thought because we were allowed to live there rent-free that we should be grateful, but it wasn't a place to live rent-free, a home. It was my prison that I done 2 years hard fucking time. Excuse my French. I had to have an escort when I went out anywhere. He wouldn't allow me to leave the home alone. I had to go with his mom or his sister. I wasn't allowed to leave the house any other way. I wasn't allowed to have anybody over there talk to anybody, or one of his family would have to come down there and sit while they was there and put their 2 cents worth in it. I wasn't allowed to have things unless I got him something in return. What do I get out of it if you get that? What do I get out of it if I allow you to go and do that? What do I get? No. No, he didn't. He was like, I can't do anything for Kathy. I can't help with her at home because she's a girl and I'm a man. And it's not right for me to take care of her because she's a female. And also, you made her hate me. And she doesn't like me, and it's because of you. Because you made her not like me. I said, if you would spend some damn time with her, she would like you. You don't spend any time with her. He would come in, kiss her, go back in the back bedroom. Which, bedroom was just in the back part of that shed. The living room was the porch that they had closed off. And go to sleep. And just leave me in there. Never talk to me. He said I was always starting trouble and bitching at him for everything. Yeah. She was... So we didn't break up. His mom took her, ripped her out of my arms, him and her, when she was 2 years old. Ripped her away from me. I was pregnant with a little boy, my 3rd trimester. And at 17 weeks, when I went in for just a regular OB appointment, found out my baby didn't have a heartbeat. And he screamed and cussed at me in the doctor's office for wasting his time and taking too long at my doctor's appointment. And then he took me and threw me out at the UAB hospital to deliver our dead child, and said that I didn't need him there for nothing, that they was hospital staff. What did I need him for? He didn't want to hold that baby. It was dead. He didn't need to be there. But then he acts like and it's all my fault, you know. If I would have just gave in to all their demands, I could still have her. I could still be living with him. We could still be together and going on like we were. But I told them to go fudge themselves. That I'm not having my dogs euthanized to satisfy their asses. Because my dogs are my damn family. Becky, I do not like your picture. It is creepy. It is pretty, but it is creepy. Don't look like you. I do like it, but I mean, I think it's just different for me. Anyway, good morning. I threw up when I woke up. That's why I'm awake. I threw up from acid reflux. But, so, June 19th, 2022, his mom, and his stepdad come over there. I had just got up, like I said, the dogs had pooped. He had made a mess on the kitchen table. The kitchen was a little bit of a mess. And the bedroom was a freaking disaster where he'd been sitting in there playing a video game. That's what he done from daylight to sunset most days, was play a computer video game, Grand Theft Auto 5. And he had drunk Mountain Dews and smoked cigarettes, but the cigarettes out in the Mountain Dew cans and just left them, dumped them out, made a big ass mess back there. And I was like, I'm not cleaning it up. I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm not cleaning that up. I'm not cleaning it up. I'm not cleaning up after him no more. He's a grown ass fucking man. He can clean up after his damn self. So, I wasn't gonna do it. Now, I cleaned up after the dogs. Dogs were mine. Tried to keep everything else clean. And I had guinea pigs in there besides my dogs. And I had 2 dogs in the house. 2 of my dogs. My Wiener and Elsa. And they were housebroken. So he's like, come out here. They want to talk to you. And I had probably 7 little dogs out there in the pen in the front. With a big old dog house. Big old, like, building that they could go in and out of. And then I had my 2 bigs. My Pongo and Purdy. And my white dog was tied out or in a kennel. My white bulldog. Alice wasn't here. She wasn't. And Dottie wasn't here because they wasn't even born yet. And they were in the back in a kennel. And then I had some chickens outside and then ducks that I was in the process of getting rid of because I didn't feel like taking care of them and I was sick. So anyway, they was like, come out here. They want to talk to you. But they proceeded to start screaming at me and telling me, this is what you're going to do. Or you can pack your shit and leave. As they ripped my daughter out of my arms. You're going to start keeping the house clean, they said. It is nasty. You're gonna start cooking all the meals, and you're not gonna eat pizza anymore, and you're not gonna do this, and you're not gonna do that. And you're gonna get rid of all your dogs but 3 or 4. We might let you have 5. And you have 2 weeks to do it. Well, when I tried to get my daughter back, and everybody told me to call the cops, and that worked out wonderfully for me, by the way. They went over there and talked to her. She told them that I was nasty and that they took the baby out of there because I was abusing her and all that. The cop called me back and said, we think she's better off where she is, and we called the DHR and they're going to be in contact with you. Well, I got a message saying that her husband, my ex's mom's husband, wanted me out because he couldn't trust me to pay the bills and he couldn't trust me to keep animals out of his house. So he wanted me out. So he called Alabama Power and told them that he needed to fix his outside meter and that he wanted them to come meter base, and he wanted them to come and cut the lines loose and unhook them and take the meter out and disconnect my power. Now, mind you, this power bill had been 2 months behind the entire time I had lived there because he wouldn't pay it and I would end up having to pay it. And I had got it caught up a couple of times, but most of the time it was like 2 months behind, and you can have it 2 months behind and it don't really affect much. Mind you that. And he went to the water company and told them to turn the water off and not turn it back on for nobody but him. So the day that I found out my son didn't have a heartbeat, they come out there and cut the power off and cut the line, and then turn the water off and all that. So he went and got a couple jugs of water and brought down there, and I bought a generator. He messed the generator up where I couldn't crank it. So he's like, you have air when I allow you to have air. You have water when I allow you to have water. I should just dump it out. How dare you disrespect me? And then he busted out the back window of my truck, and he run it. I think he drained the oil. There ain't no way that truck used all that damn oil. It didn't have no leak to it. He drained the oil out of it. It had no water in it. Ran it till he blowed the rings up in it. So it had to be towed to my other house. And it was totaled out. It wasn't running. Even if it did use oil, supposedly he was a mechanic, so wouldn't a mechanic know to check the oil? And I said, why didn't you check the oil and the water in this? Like, you're saying that it just ran out of oil and water on its own, so why didn't you check it on it? You're the one that wants to drive it all the time. He said, it's not mine. It's not my truck. Why would I check the oil and water in it? It's yours. Hush. I gotta get up and let these dogs out. So I rented a van from U-Haul, and I loaded up my dogs in it, and I drove back to Coleman and moved back into my house in Crane Hill. I got an ex. Hush. I gotta get up and let them out. I had an ex-boyfriend to help me move my stuff. I knew he would. We had been broke up for about 7 years, but he got an attitude about him, and I had to tell him to fudge off. So that's how I ended up where I am. And I relive that every single day. Some days are worse than others. Some days I can kind of forget a little bit. But I relive all that. It done damage. I can't say that it didn't. But they run around and tell that I lost custody of her because I was nasty. I believe, even though they didn't tell me, I believe the reason why they just decided to leave everything like it was because my home couldn't pass their homesteading that they do. Their homesteading is when they come out and they look at your house and make sure that your home is a safe environment for your child. And if it's not, then you can't have them. And I believe that's why, because when they took my daughter away, my custody away for her, they told me to come up there and file for custody of her. And keep my certificates where I went through what they wanted me to go through, and they'll probably want me to go back through it again because it's been a year or so. Yeah. And come to find out that my ex and his mother and some woman that he'd been paying for smacks had been planning this from the beginning since they found out I was pregnant. To take my daughter away and to get rid of me. That he hated me from the very beginning. And somebody that hates you, that will destroy your life, will lie to your face and tell you that they love you. He used to tell me that he wasn't doing any of that to be cruel to me. He was doing that to educate me because he loved me. That I was uneducated and I was stupid. And I needed to be educated on how things need to be. So he would get on, scream and holler at me like he did because he needed to educate me. Teach me how to do it the right way. If he hadn't lost his Facebook account, I wouldn't have the little evidence that I do against him. I feel pretty good. Threw up this morning, but it's just me. I'm not preggo. I'm not. But I've got stomach problems right now. We gotta get up, let the dogs out. It's so cold this morning, y'all. So that's my life in a nutshell. I've left out some of the detailed parts and some of the stuff that happened because I don't want to get in trouble on here. Yeah, it's cold here too, but I gotta get up and let the dogs out. I bet you my big dogs have already peed, but because they don't whine until after they've used the bathroom in here. When my big dogs pass, Pongo's got a tumor on him I gotta take him to the vet and have it biopsied and took off and see if it's cancer. Purdy is 9. They're still pretty get up and go. They're pretty good in their health. But I have seen from dogs, especially large breed dogs, when they get about 10 years old or 11, they'll be playing and running around and everything one day, and you'll go out there and find them just passed away in their doghouse or passed away in their bed in here in the house. You know, I've seen that. And when my big dogs go that I've got, I will never have another one. I love the ones that I have. I love my littles. When my older dogs pass, I'm not saying that they won't, but usually big dogs don't live as long as they used to. They used to live 16, 17 years. Now you're lucky if they live 10 years. And the food is causing cancer. All the additives in the food is causing cancer. And I'm worried about Pongo because that tumor thing on him has got so freakishly big over the last 2 months that it's really concerning. It's right there close to his breast tissue. You know, even though male dogs don't use their breasts like women dogs do to nurse babies. All my other ones are barking too. They won't go out. So I gotta get up and do that. In all, my dogs are a lot better off here than they were with my ex, because when I lived with my ex, my dogs wasn't allowed in the house. He would scream and holler at me. I'm making the house nasty and all that. And here my dogs can be inside and I can keep it clean because there's nobody here making freaking messes. How many dogs do you think I have in my house? I'd like to get some guesses. 7. So I have 4 big dogs, and I have about 7 or 8 little dogs, I think. Plus, nope, I've got 7 puppies, not 10 puppies. I got 7. I have 8 little dogs that sound like I have 45 little dogs when they all get to damn barking. Puppies don't count, though. I mean, technically they're dogs and they're in my house and they're here. But they don't count because they're not staying. They're not mine. They're not my dogs. They're mine to take care of, but they're not mine. I don't want to keep ownership of them and them be here forever. If that makes sense. So I only count what are mine and what is staying. So I got wax in my ear and it's itching. So I'm keeping my 8 littles and my 4 bigs. The pups are all going. And I may get rid of a couple more because my male dog passed away unexpectedly. He got in an accident and did not make it, so I don't have a boy dog except for the neutered one. And I'm refiguring stuff, which I can't make it without what little bit of money that I do make off of my dogs. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's not like, you know, and it's very sporadically. But I don't really want to get another dog. I don't want to get another, I mean, like, I feel like I've got my limit. And I would have to get another dog, another male. I've got Casper, but he's not wanting to be a stud dog. It does not. I have never made any money battling. I used to battle a lot on here with Becky and other people, and I have never made any money on it. It just like gives you a win or it don't. But happy Monday, everybody. I have got to get off of here and get these dogs out and eat something. But I'll find out what's wrong with me when I go to the doctor. Hopefully nothing. It was just a bad test. No baby. So I don't have to worry or stress. I won't have no good day of rest. I have a good day of manual labor. Because I have to clean a lot in here, and I got a lot of clothes to do, and I got a lot of pads to do, to wash and stuff. And a lot of food to eat. I hate when my face breaks out, too. I just hope one day that I can make peace with my past and forgive myself, because I think that's the hardest thing to do about my past is forgive myself. I'm going to try to. I'm starting to lose my voice. Hopefully I can get all this crap done. I got to send a message, though. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.